Hello, family. Welcome back to the Sageology podcast. This will be my first bonus episode where I'm actually not going to be talking about astrology and horoscopes. We're going to get into a pretty nice discussion today. So, if you follow me on social media, you know that this is something that I talk about kind of a lot. And if you keep up with this podcast, I'm pretty sure this will not be my last time that I discuss this topic, but just my first because it's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I've been learning about and sorting through in my own personal life and figuring out for myself it's just observing and I've been philosophizing about it and how it's being shown in the collective. So, um, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna be talking about femininity. Oh my God, she said it. But yeah, I'm actually gonna be talking about that, and I wanna, talk about it in reference to the Barbie movie because I saw the Barbie movie yesterday. I did not like it. It kind of left me in a weird mood. I don't like the movie. I understand some of the themes and such that they were trying to get at. I just think that there's a disconnect. And I know that the femininity subject is just honestly tiring. Um, I know, guys, because I've been in it. This is a topic that I've kind of been invested in a while, and I think it is getting boring. But I think the reason why this topic is so prevalent right now, because the energy that we are in today, the divine feminine is being called to go through an ascension. If you are aware of what people say in the spiritual streets, I guess, if you want to call it, we're walking into the age of Aquarius, and in the age of Aquarius is the rise of the divine feminine. I feel like people have been talking about, oh my God, the rise of the divine feminine, rise of the divine feminine, rise of the divine feminine, but what does that really mean? What does the age of Aquarius really look like? So I think that's why there's this big pressure and this focus to talk about femininity and why so many people have been just discussing it. And if you didn't know, I'm going to tell you now. Once Black Americans, God's chosen people, the Black people who are native to America, once we get our shit together, specifically our family structures, once we get our family structures straight, once we get our communities together rock solid, the whole world is going to change. We're firmly going to be in a new era. So, really, that's what God is waiting on. God is waiting for us to get our stuff together. And when it comes to this area, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done in our community because there was a lot of violence, propaganda, sabotage inflicted on us through ourselves, but majorly through white savagery. I don't like saying white supremacy, but they're savages. White people have definitely sabotaged us, but we fell victim to it. And I do think as a collective, we are trying to get out of this energy, but we're kind of walking in circles at this point. It's a lot of pointing the finger at each other, a lot of projected blame and resentment. And honestly, the conversation is getting tired, but it's a conversation that we keep needing to have until we get to some solutions. And that's what I strongly feel. So, yeah, so there's this ascension, this rise of divine feminine. Women are under a lot of pressure right now. If you are a woman and you've been tweaking, baby, trust me, I completely understand you. The evil powers that be know that this is something that's happening. So they're trying to hijack this with the feminist movement. So, I feel like the rise of the divine feminine and the modern day feminist movement are two completely different things. And that the rise of the divine feminine woman coming in their true power is getting hijacked by feminists, by the patriarchy. So let's talk about it. Let's get into this Barbie movie. If you want to see the Barbie movie, this is going to be straight spoilers starting now. So, the Barbie movie begins with they show these little girls in like these, everything's like grab gray, dusty, and just like horrible looking. Everything's like gray, brown, and dusty. The land is barren. It's just like a whole bunch of rocks. And it just shows these little girls playing with like these little baby dolls, these baby dolls. And the narrators was talking about how, you know, since the beginning of time, girls have played with baby dolls, and that's all they had to play with was a doll in the form of a baby until Barbie was invented. And at least how they made it seem in the movie, that Barbie was the first doll that was not a baby, but was like, you know, a grown woman, a grown adult. And so then they show the girls like smashing their baby dolls and getting rid of their baby dolls and like destroying them and start playing with the Barbie doll. So then we kind of fast forward and we're in Barbie world. We're in Barbie world. Everything is perfect. Just a whole bunch of Barbies. You know, the women run everything. We see Barbie woman president, Barbie woman Supreme Court justices, Barbie woman Nobel Peace Prize winners. We see Barbie woman doctors, Barbie woman construction workers. You know, we see all these like beautiful Barbie women like looking perfect, living their best life, doing their, you know, doing whatever the hell they want. Life is perfect there. It's just everything just comes towards them, you know, just gravitate towards them. They don't have to like really work for it. Everything's perfect. Everything's perfect in Barbie world. Everybody is happy. We see they show in the introduction of a movie, they show a brief clip of a pregnant Barbie, but they were like, oh, we don't really talk about her. She's discontinued. She didn't sell a lot. It was like a bad idea, right? And then later in the movie, we go to the beach and we're introduced to the Kens. So the Ken dolls are complete idiots. Ken is obsessed with Barbie, but Barbie does not like Ken. And in the movie, the Ken dolls are just kind of negligent, kind of just like eye candy. The Barbies are, you know, doing a damn thing, running the world, right? And the Kens are just there on the beach looking good with their six packs and their abs and their cute little outfits on, just obsessed and fanning over Barbie, and they're just made there to look good and be pretty male eye candy for the Barbies, right? But Ken is obsessed with Barbie. Barbie doesn't really like him. She kind of just brushes him off and just kind of like, oh, okay. But the Ken is competing with other Kens for the main Barbie, like stereotypical Barbie's attention. So that's what they're like competing with each other over that and fighting with each other over the main Barbie's attention, right? So, you know, we see that the movie starts off with this first perfect Barbie day. And then at that night, the Barbie said, she was like, does anybody ever think of death? And then it's like everything stopped. They were having this party. And then Barbie was like in the middle of the party, just like, does anybody ever think of death? And all the Barbies were looking at her like, girl, what? And then she was like, oh, never mind. I just mean I'm dying to dance or something like that. Something stupid. She kind of played it off. And so then all the Barbies and Kens went back to like having this dance party or whatever. So the next day, everything is wrong in Barbie land. Like her breath stinks. Her shower was cold. Her milk was spoiled. And then her feet were flat. Her feet touched the ground. So she, something was wrong. So she was talking to the other Barbies about like, what the fuck is going on wrong with her? So they sent her to Weird Barbie. Weird Barbie is the Barbie nobody likes. She kind of lives by herself. She was the Barbie who was played too hard with, so she has like scribbles and stuff all over her face. She's always in the splits because some little girl just like really wrecked this Barbie. And Weird Barbie basically told Barbie that she had to go to the human world, find a little girl who was playing with her that was messing up her life, because the little girl who was playing with her was depressed, which is making her malfunction in the Barbie world. So she has to go there, fix the little girl, make her like happy so she could stop malfunctioning in the Barbie world and her life will go back to perfect. So Barbie ends up going to the real world. Ken comes with her. Barbie's in the real world. She hates it. We see her, we see a whole bunch of like men staring at her, objectifying her. She's like sexually assaulted, a whole bunch of other stuff. She really hates it. And so Ken's there in the real world and he discovers patriarchy and he's like, oh my God, like men run everything here. It's looking kind of cool, kind of like it. It's looking pretty good to me. And so then Barbie, she sees this old woman and she was like crying, kind of having a mental breakdown on the bench. And she sees this old woman and she tells the old woman, it's like, you look so beautiful. And the older lady was just kind of like, I know. And then Barbie just walks off and she goes to she had a vision of the girl who was playing with her. So she goes to find her at her school. So she finds her at the school. The little girl like fucking tears Barbie apart, just rips into her self-esteem, talking about she's not a real woman. Her being perfect makes other women feel bad and she's everything was wrong with blah, blah, blah. And Barbie's like, no, I'm here to empower you. Where I'm from, women can do this, women can do that. Women are everything. We have women presidents. We have women Supreme Court justices. Barbie world is all a beautiful, perfect womanhood, like utopia. And then a little girl, she's just like, that's not real life. And, you don't represent womanhood. This idea of like the perfect woman, perfect girl is just wrong. And you're like basically trying to influence girls to be held up to false, unrealistic standards. So Barbie kind of has a mental breakdown. And we also see that the CEO, the people over the Barbie company, has discovered that a Barbie's in the real world and it's all men. So they're coming to get the Barbie back. So Barbie's outside crying outside the school. The men come and get her to, I assume, to take her back to Barbie world. And then Barbie, she kind of discovers that even though Barbie world is like all women, all the people who are in charge of the company are all men. So she was kind of like off put by that. So she decides to like run away. So she runs away. She meets this old woman again. The old woman gives her some advice and she ends up going back to the Barbie world with the girl that she met at the school that kind of like ruined her self-esteem. And she ended up going back with the girl's mother. So the girl's mother and the girl ended up going back to the Barbie world. Now, Ken had already been back in Barbie world. He left before Barbie got captured and went back to the Barbie world. And he took patriarchy and taught it to the Ken dolls. So by the time Barbie makes it back to the Barbie world, it's no longer like this beautiful Barbie woman utopia. It's a patriarchy, and the Ken dolls, they're just running everything. But of course, they're still stupid, like overinflated with their own egos. It's just, I guess they were kind of doing like stereotypical frat boy, just like, or country frat boy, stereotypical. The horses everywhere, like huge faux leather coats and things, and just like six packs and beers and and then a Barbie woman, they were just kind of in line. They were like ogling over all of the male Barbie dolls, all over all the Kens basically. So they just was like, falling into line. Basically, they kind of had, I guess they were trying to say they had no sense of self-worth, or they forgot their self-worth. They didn't care that they were like Nobel Peace Prize winners and presidents and stuff. They were just falling in line and doing whatever the fuck the Ken dolls told them to do, but not really like that. They were basically just stroking their ego. They were like being their maids and rubbing their feet and, just watching them like play the guitar and shit like that and serenade them and sing to them, whatever, I guess they were trying to say that they completely lost their identity. And Ken had took over Barbie's house, so Barbie went back home. Her home wasn't even her home no more, so she was kind of like, what the fuck? So she had another breakdown, existential crisis. And so the mom, she was like, because Barbie, one of the reasons that Barbie brought the mom back to Barbie world was to fix her. They found out that the mom the daughter wasn't what was making Barbie malfunction. It was the mom. Because the mom, she had started playing with the Barbie again because the mom was essentially depressed. She had fell back into a depression. And Barbie was like, you know what? I'll fix your depression. Like, come to Barbie world where everything is perfect. The Barbies, we live our best life. Everything is perfect here. And if you come here, I'll show you like this woman utopia, and so you won't be depressed anymore. You'll be inspired. So, of course, Barbie went back to the Barbie world. It was no longer Barbie world. It was a patriarchy. Ken had stole her house. And so then she just had another existential crisis and was depressed. And it was like, I'm just going to lay on this ground and like do nothing because my world is over, basically. So long story short, the mom and the daughter ended up taking her to weird Barbie, who wasn't affected, like the ugly, weird Barbie that nobody fucking likes, right? So they ended up re-feminizing the woman, I guess, and then, you know, they took the patriarchy down, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, Barbie world became a woman Barbie world society again. And Barbie decided to leave Barbie land and become a real person. So she decided to become human, and that's how it is at the end of the movie. So there's a couple reasons that I don't like this. I do feel like this movie essentially was to confuse women and to make women feel shitty about themselves. I will say that in this movie, I saw no real woman empowerment, you know? I feel like the idea was that Barbie world was woman empowerment. That was like true woman empowerment of a world where a woman didn't face setbacks or whatever, where they were the presidents and the construction workers and the lawyers and completely in charge of the legal system and built everything and did everything. That's the ideal dream woman world. I guess that's what we will consider a matriarchal society, right? Wrong. So wrong. I feel like if women were truly in charge of everything, the government and stuff wouldn't be structured the way that it is today. First of all, I believe that if women were in charge of government, capitalism wouldn't exist. Our communities will be more community oriented and have less to deal with capitalism. I feel like everyone will have their basic needs met. Anyways, that's another topic. But what's on my heart here to really discuss and to really communicate is that so many people think that woman empowerment is women doing the things that are coveted by men. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I believe that woman empowerment is, yes, women doing whatever the hell that they want to do, but also feeling confident in their ability to be woman and do womanly things. Why is woman empowerment always portrayed to us as women in roles coveted by men? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't woman empowerment ever shown to us as women, like, in the highest form of motherhood, like women happy to be mothers, women embracing motherhood, or even women who are like healers, who are priestesses, you know, like this is what I see the divine feminine as. Why do we always see the divine feminine played or try to be portrayed in all these masculine roles? Like, fuck that. I hate that. I'm so tired of that. I feel like the patriarchy was built by men for men, right? It was never an environment that was created for a woman to thrive in. So why are they still portraying women in this light to be obsessed with this system that's obviously not created for us and will never work for us? And we don't need those rules, you know? I mean, I guess I'm trying to, and I don't, mean this in an offensive way. I do believe that, it's good for a woman to be doctors, lawyers, whatever, but understand that those structures were created by men. Even modern day gynecology was literally created by white men abusing, raping, and practicing doing experiments on female fucking slaves. So you please understand the system in the patriarchy built off women's healthcare in general, fucking gynecology, fucking the I can't even think of the word right now, but OBGYNs, all of that shit. Even when we give birth, women are not even allowed to give birth empowered. Why would we as women want to go into that system and as some sort of liberation? Women, we are infinite creative beings. We are automatically tapped in with the earth and earth energy. We don't need to go to school for someone to teach us how to be a woman. How about we build community within ourselves? How about instead of becoming fucking doctors, and then again, there's nothing wrong with like female doctors, but follow my drift here, pick up on what I'm saying. Fuck their rules, fuck their system. Like, instead of becoming a doctor, become like a medicine woman. Develop your intuition. Learn how to use the plants and herbs and shit to your advantage. Why don't we see more women? Why aren't we showing woman empowerment with a woman with a kitchen full of herbs and could fix up your ailments just like that without having to depend on the drugs and big pharmas and all these corporations that were built, owned, and operated by fucking men? Please tell me how that's woman empowerment. That's not fucking woman empowerment, okay? Women being slaves in these goddamn hospitals, overworked, stressed out, to have other women come and give birth essentially in prisons. How about woman empowerment is women owning and operating birth homes ran by women for a women who could go and give birth in the place of elders where they feel comfortable and safe, where they have other women to talk to them and guide them through the process, where they aren't in like fucking in these cold rooms with these weird ass pull out beds and in stirrups and shit. How about women have birth homes where it's a comfortable, comfy bed and it's nice and it's relaxing and you have carpet and dim lights and shit like that, and it's ran by women at the end of the day. At the end of the day, all of that money is going back into a woman's pocket. Like, I feel like that's what female empowerment is to me, and why aren't we ever showed that? I think that female empowerment is always showed to us as women forcing their way into the patriarchy, and again, that's not gonna work. We have to understand that capitalism in America was created by men for men. Women, even if you go back to the original feminist movement, women had the right to, they had to fight essentially for the right to work and to be in the workforce. And so the workforce was created by men for men. Women fought to have the right to be in the workforce. Do you think that the workforce changed by and large to accommodate women? No. You're still expected to work as hard as a man, even though that's literally physically and y'all know what I'm trying to say. It's physically and physiology. Anyways, it's physically impossible for a woman to do that. Like, we literally, our bodies literally don't have the capacity, which is why we fucking self-destruct and our hormones are fucking wrecked. So we're programmed to basically essentially abandon our womanhood to force ourselves to fit into this ideology and false constructs that we will never achieve, thrive, and be great in by and large, because it's not built by us for us. And I do get that in a movie, Barbie world was essentially ran by men. It was all male CEOs. So at the end of the day, it was kind of like the little girl in the movie. It was right. I don't believe in hate on other women because they look good and they pretty and tell them that's like false standards or whatever. Fuck that. I feel like that's some hating ass shit. Me personally, baby, if you look good, flex, flaunt that shit, But I kind of get what she's saying, essentially, that all these Barbies were created by men. They took the babies away from Barbie they took the baby dolls away from the little girls, and they gave the little girls the Barbie dolls. So they took the babies away from the girls and they gave them female presidents. They took the babies away from the girls and they gave them female lawyers. That's so fucking damaging to young girls on a whole nother different level, you know? And the Barbie world, she's right. It isn't a matriarchal society. It isn't a society where women are empowered, you know? It's just not. Because women empowerment will look completely different. It will look like true sisterhood and women walking and living in their divine femininity. Like, we don't of course, everybody needs to be educated or have a certain level of basic education, but we don't need your fucking schools. We don't need your stupid rules. You know, we don't need that. We're women. We're powerful. How about we create our own shit that serves us? Why don't we create our own shit that serves us at the end of the day, especially when it comes to our bodies? You know, why don't we create our shit? Why do women, as a woman, why don't we have more holistic female gynecologists? Why can't we go and get fucking yoni steaming sessions and shit like that instead of having to get fucking cold clamps and stirrups and put our leg up? You know, that shit is just fucking weird. Tell me how that's divine feminine. Tell me how that's woman empowerment. It's fucking not. That's like woman imprisonment, to be honest with you. And back to the little girls playing with, you know, baby dolls, right? I think that is so symbolic. I think that's one of the major pieces of symbolism that they have in a woman. In the movie, I feel like essentially in this movie, they really shat on motherhood, which is one of the highest forms of, you know, divine femininity that a woman could be in. Is essentially motherhood, the ability to create and nurture life. Is not praised. And what is a woman empowerment movie where motherhood isn't praised? You know, they had the one pregnant Barbie. She was shit on. Everybody hated her. Nobody liked her. She probably got total 5 seconds of screen time. She didn't even have a fucking house. Weird Barbie was kind of like the joke in the system, right? Because she's the weird Barbie who was played too hard. Nobody likes her. Everybody called her weird Barbie and make fun of her because she was ugly and she had the scribbles on her face and she had the weird hair. She was always in the splits, right? She was the fucking joke, right? Weird Barbie at least had her own house. She at least had some sort of respect and dignity, and she was the one who kind of who had the hideout during the patriarchy when all the Kens was running Barbie world. She was the Barbie who had the hideout and who they bought the other Barbies to be re-radicalized, re-feminized. You know, so Weird Barbie ended up having this like whole like fucking redemption arc type thing. Not really redemption arc because she was never the villain, but they end up, you know, letting her rise to power and do her Weird Barbie thing. The pregnant Barbie didn't even have a fucking house. Every time she was on the screen, everybody was like, ew, pregnant Barbie. We don't really talk about her. The woman in the movie, she was depressed. She was fucking suicidal. She didn't have a good connection with her daughter. The whole point was like, oh, I'm depressed. I'm a depressed woman who doesn't really enjoy her life and everything is like hard for me and whatever, you know? I don't like that. And it's like, even coming into Barbie world, we didn't see her really, I guess they kind of like hinted at her relationship with her daughter or something improving like that. But we didn't really, you know, we didn't really see that. We just kind of saw her really like struggling with motherhood and her daughter not really wanting to be around her and all that stuff. So I do feel like womanhood, motherhood was kind of shitted on. All we saw was women thriving in these like really masculine jobs, in these really masculine fields, and in the Barbie world, and women struggling to obtain that in the real world and essentially being depressed about it. And I do think that's back to the symbolism about the baby dolls, right? and the baby dolls being destroyed and women abandoning their baby dolls for Barbie dolls. So let's think about why little girls play with baby dolls. Little girls play with baby dolls because they see their mom nurturing children, nurturing babies. When you're a little girl, even let's say you're the eldest daughter, right? You're a little girl. You see your mom be pregnant. You see your mom have a baby. You see your mom walking around with the baby, nurturing the baby, whatever. Little girls love that shit. They have baby dolls. They dress them up. They get them their little strollers. They feed them the little fake food. Who remembers like the baby alives that used to actually, you could feed them and they used to poop and you had to change the diapers? I had one of those. I used to eat that shit up. Little girls love that shit. And that really got me thinking too, the amount of like femininity and how we organically strive for femininity and sisterhood at a very young age before we're programmed out of it. This brings me back to memories that I had when I was a little girl. I used to play on the playground with, my little girl friends. What we used to talk about. We used to talk about how many kids we want to have. We used to brainstorm names for our kids. How many little girls in elementary school used to talk to their friends about the amount of kids that you want to have, and you will come up with names for like your future children. We used to do shit like, oh, I want 3 girls and 2 boys, but I want my boys first so my little girls can have an older brother. And then my boy names will be Brandon, and maybe the other one will be a junior. And my girl, her name will be her grandmother's name. She will have the same. I'm gonna name her after my mom, her grandmother. That's what we used to do. We used to do that shit. We used to talk about that shit. That's what was like looked up to on a playground. We used to play in each other's hair as little girls. We used to like, sing little chants and dance in circles like tutu be beat. I don't know if y'all know what that is, but that's something that we used to do. We used to do, like the hand games, the tweedledee. We used to do all of that shit. That was sisterhood in its highest form. We used to play in each other's hair. We used to talk to each other. We used to have conversations. We used to play in the dirt and pretend that we were cooking food. I remember on the playground at my school, what we did, the little girls did, we will take our hoodies, we will take our jackets, and we will fold them up into little babies. So we will take our jackets and we will fold them into babies, right? And tuck the jacket into the hood, and it kind of looked like a swaddle. That's really what it looked like. It was a swaddle. So I guess that's what we did. And we used to put our little hoodie babies in a corner of our arms, and we used to pretend that they were our babies, and we used to walk around with these fake pretend like hoodie babies. That's what we did, at a young age. We aspired to be women, and we looked up at womanhood, and we saw femininity as like a high honor. Even when I had my little nieces the other day, and I asked them what they wanted to be when they grew up, and I don't even think I asked them, or maybe I did ask them. I can't remember, but they told me, one of my nieces said, I want to be a mom when I grow up, and my other niece told me, I want to be an auntie. Like, as little girls, we get that. As little girls, we honor femininity. As little girls, we aspire to be that. We were inspired by our mothers. We wanted to be mothers. We recognize the honor and tradition in that. We really did. And it's programmed out of us. I remember by the time I graduated high school, I didn't want no kids. At 18, I could have had like my tubes tied or got a hysterectomy and not given a fuck. And I think that's sad. I think that's a sad like reality that we live in, and I think that that's dangerous. And I think that's what taking the baby dolls and giving them Barbie dolls did to little girls. Little girls no longer had pretend babies. So they were no longer aspiring towards, motherhood. They took the babies away and gave them these pretend lawyers, these pretend doctors, these pretend Supreme Court justices, And I think that's dangerous. And another thing that I want to say too is that another thing too. Let's talk about the gender war real quick. I don't like how in the Barbie movie, all the men were displayed as complete idiots. I feel like every woman feel like men are idiots at some point in our life. We really do. But men aren't idiots. I feel like men are just simple. I think men are simple creatures. I think that we are more complex than them because women are thinkers. We're overthinkers. And I feel like men are just like very straightforward, simple, like direct. It's like no Jedi mind trick and mind games with men. But for women, I think we overcomplicate a lot of shit. So we think that men are essentially simple creatures. And I also, what was the other thing that I want to say? Yes, women are more emotionally intelligent than men. And I think that sometimes women, we get into our little fits where we feel like men are idiots because they're not as emotionally intelligent than us. So I think, every woman has that little thing where she's like, ugh, men are so dumb, but they're not dumb. We're just built different. And then again, men have their little things where they feel like we are just like hysterical and over dramatic and blah, 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 which, sometimes we are, but that's okay. We're women. But I hate how the men were just displayed as like these complete other fucking idiots in the Barbie movie. And I think that essentially does nothing for women. All it does is create this gender war because at the end of the day, a woman can't be in her highest form of femininity without men. Like, it's literally all balance. It's all balance. Balance is everything. And I know like some people like hate patriarchy. It's like down with the patriarchy, blah blah blah. Me personally, I don't care. I feel like there's a time and place for everything, and I do think that the patriarchy has its benefits. I just don't think that it's built for women. So I think that women should disconnect from it. That's why I feel like what I've been saying and honestly reiterating is just that I think that it's really dangerous for women to try to force themselves and get super like emotionally attached with the fucking patriarchy. Like, can we not do that? I feel like capitalism is also really dangerous for women. And all of this is coming from the American perspective. American women, we are taught to idolize careers and put our careers on a pedestal. We are not taught to like idolize and look up to like womanhood and motherhood and like, wifehood, all that shit. No, that shit is shitted on. If you're not career oriented or anything like that, it's kind of like, why do you exist? And that's again shown in the fucking Barbie movie. All of these Barbies just being these perfect, like, masculine, patriarchal women wrapped in pink, I think that's dangerous. And I feel like everybody has to eat. So choose your career. I feel like people should be empowered by their career. People should be able to make money doing something that they like and what brings some joy. But as a woman, know that you will never thrive and survive or feel fulfilled working like a man. So you have to figure out what that means for yourself. I strongly believe that women should not have to work full-time jobs. I don't. I believe that women shouldn't have to work full-time jobs. And this is something that I want fixed in the patriarchy. This is something that I want fixed in capitalism. Either pay men enough money to be able to be the sole providers of their household, or pay women enough to work part-time. I feel like women shouldn't have to work full-time jobs, especially like during motherhood. I think when a woman's kids are young, she shouldn't have to work at all. And I feel like if a woman is a wife and a mother, she should not have to work full time. She should only have to work a part-time job, because let's be honest, running a household as a woman, that's a full-time job. You know, you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to care for the children. That's 24/7. How the hell you gonna do that and work a full-time job? Somebody's gonna sit out, and most of the time, let's be honest, it's the woman or the kids. And let's look at today American society. Like, let's take a really good look at that today. You can tell that they took the woman out the home and put them in the fucking streets and put them in the offices, because our kids aren't getting what they need. They want the school to raise your kids. They want the iPad to raise your kids. They don't want kids to have real mothers. They don't want emotionally intelligent kids. That's why all these kids are fucking depressed and don't know how to have real human interactions and relationships, because their mother isn't there to teach them these things. The mom is gone. The mom is worked out. The mom is stressed. These kids are so fucking sick because they can't even eat real food. When you get into like really traditional food and eating nutrient dense food, that shit takes time. You know, to have a truly healthy family, to have a truly healthy mom, to have a truly healthy children, you need to be eating home cooked meals. Home cooked meals take time. That should take time to cook. If you cooking from scratch, like, that shit take time. That shit take time to cook. And women, like, we need the time to be able to cook good meals for our family. We need the time to be able to, live in a clean environment. We need the time to be able to tend to our children and not feel stressed out and not feel overwhelmed. When we subject ourselves to the patriarchy, that's what happens, and somebody loses out. Someone has inside the streak. And this is back to my point. In order for that to be obtainable for women, we need partnership. We need good husbands. Even if you're not straight, somebody has to be making the money. So even if you don't have a husband but you have a girlfriend or a wife, somebody has to be making the money, and the other person has to be taking care of the home. Like, that's just the way that it goes. That's just the way that it always been. That's the way that it always will be, which is why I'm not down with which is why I don't feel like the patriarchy should fall. I just say make the patriarchy for men. And if we want to create a different work system, a different workforce for women, then so be it. But it should be for a woman, by a woman, created for a woman. Women should stop forcing themselves into the patriarchy. Y'all wants to be doctors? Create your own woman model system of medical care. Like, stop bringing your kids to these fucking pediatricians that you don't trust. Create your own medical care that's woman-centered and that's woman empowerment. Back in the day, if we look throughout history, women have always been the ones in charge of health, because we are the healers, and we are the one who prepare the food. We are the one who's cooked. We have always been the ones who's in charge of health. There's always been the town mother or whatever who would be to have the home remedies to heal the kids. We've just gotten away from that. And when I think of matriarchal society, when I think of women empowered, that's what I think of. I want to be able to give birth either at my home, surrounded by women, wise women, or go to like a birthing center that's ran by a woman that's not subjected to the rules and laws of the patriarchy. I want to be able to take, and then this shit is embedded in the laws too, which is why I don't fucking get Barbie Movie with all their female Supreme Court justices and lawyers like psychologically programming women to be these things, right? The laws and shit are anti-woman at the fucking core. So I don't get it. I guess if you have the idea of going there and changing that, being the one woman who's for women in a system that's created against us, but it's still male dominated, you'll never win. So like, when I think of woman empowerment, I think of being able to take my child to like a holistic office that's ran by a woman, a place that I trust. Like, that's really what I think of. Or being able to go and get medicines from my home girl, or go to the farmer's market and buy her products. That's the type of shit that's woman empowerment. Being able to, raise my kids in that kind of environment, and being able to depend on women for sisterhood. I think I'm kind of rambling at this point, but y'all get what I mean. So anyways, that's pretty much my thoughts on the movie. I think I'm getting ready to end it just about now, but I do want to say, and I'll probably talk about this more in the future about the rise of the divine feminine. And I'm sorry if my thoughts and things are all over the place. This is my first ever time doing something like this. And let me know if y'all would like more videos or podcast episodes like this in the future. But the rise of the divine feminine is about women reclaiming their femininity, their divine femininity, and living in it and being in it. It's not about women trying to force themselves into the patriarchy, because women have already done that. Women have been doing that for generations. Look at where we at now. Our kids are sick as ever. Our woman is sick as ever. Fibroid, stress, fertility issues. The fertility is going down. Why the fuck do you think fertility is going down? Because motherhood and womanhood isn't coveted. Career is. Being a man is. Programmed to be like a man is. So do you think our bodies are going to let us reproduce and respond in a way that's conductive to us if we're over here stressing ourselves out and forcing ourselves into these male dominated spaces? Hell the fuck no, I think not. And I'm not saying that women shouldn't work either. Another one of my theories is that in the rise of divine feminine, I do think that not majority, but I think that a lot of women will be breadwinners. And I feel like households will receive their income based off the standing of the woman. So even if we look at now, female-owned businesses are doing great. And I do encourage women to be entrepreneurs. And I do encourage women to have their side hustles. And I do encourage women to have their own businesses. And y'all, please believe that having and running your own business isn't easy. That shit is hard work and it takes a lot. But I rather much see women do that instead of stressing themselves out, like trying to force themselves in a patriarchy. If you're going to be career oriented, be an entrepreneur, have your own shit. We see women being millionaires based off of even I think about Imani the hood healer, women who are doing their own thing, they're doing the damn thing, providing for themselves by living in their power, by being divine priestesses. They're making money. Women influencers are making money. Women who are showing other women how to cook good nutritional meals, who are showing women how to homestead, who are showing women how to garden, who are showing women how to preserve food, women who are selling other women plant medicines, women who are teaching women how to care for their families in holistic ways. These are the businesses that are thriving and growing, and these are the things that will be the most coveted in the higher timelines. So that's why listen, as a woman, a man has to earn their worth. Yes, they do. Women, we come into the world already with worth. And as a woman, you could diminish it or you could empower it. You can make it grow. So it's time to make it grow, ladies. It's time for us to pick up hobbies. It's time for us to learn how to cook. It's time for us to learn how to garden. It's time for us to learn them herbs, okay? It's time for us to learn how to heal. If you psychic and you read cards, if you are a Reiki practitioner, if you are a witchy bitch, if you are a herbal bitch, if you're any of even if you really like to sew, even if you sew clothes, you design clothes, even if you are a jeweler, even you a priestess, you a philosopher if you know it. I feel like it's time for women to, even if you a makeup bitch, you like to do makeup, you like to do self-care, you the girl who makes skincare, you the girl who do face masks, you the girl who do waxes, you're the girl into beautification. Get them businesses up, ladies, because we need it. And that's femininity. That's the rise of divine feminine. Okay, that's a matriarchal society. Women being able to depend on other women for shit like that. That's what I see. That's what's not represented in the Barbie movie. And that's what I want to see women inspired to do. That's really what I want to see women get into. And I feel like on the higher timelines, those are the women who are going to be having a bag and who are going to be making the most money. So I really do encourage women to pick up those skills. And like I said, I don't want to be like anti-work, because everybody needs to eat. Being an entrepreneur isn't for everyone. So yes, women, get your degrees, find a job that you like, that you don't mind doing, find jobs that allow you to rest and bask in your femininity. I think that is important. I highly encourage you to do that, but please just know, don't put womanhood and motherhood and wifehood on the side if that's something that you always want in life. Please know that when you get to that area or that chapter in your life, you may have to take a step back from the career. You may have to take a step back from the job, or maybe, even work part-time. I feel like that's important because our kids needs us. Our society needs us. We're living in such a moralist society right now because the women aren't teaching morals. The women aren't teaching morals. If you want to have a society full of the degeneracy that is filled with today, take women out the home. Have women stressed out. Have women not giving a fuck how they portray themselves. Have women not care about, their morals, their values, because they're in survival mode. Have women in survival mode. When women are in survival mode, they're out of their creativity. Last point that I want to say, capitalism is so dangerous for women. If you are in your divine feminine, and if you are tapped into your creativity, please know that you will need less money, okay? You will literally need less money if you're into your creativity. And I think capitalism is so toxic, and women are keeping capitalism afloat because we are the main consumers. And I think it's time as women, we really do need to get out of that. Most of these beauty products and shit are damaging us and poisoning us anyways. They're full of harmful chemicals. Girl, if you don't start making your own lotions and body butters, if you're not making it yourself, if you don't support your girl, and I'm on woman ass because y'all be doing this shit and this shit don't make no sense. We complain about this shit. How many people know a woman who sells body butters or make body butters? Why are you still fucking buying Jergens? Why are you still buying Cetaphil? Why are you still buying Dove when one of your homegirls make body butters? Buy body butters from her. The same products that we're keeping in capitalism afloat, we're buying this shit, are the same things that are killing us, that are toxic, that are making us, it's fucking killing our bodies. It's throwing off our hormones. Make the shit yourself or buy it from a girl that does. You need better hair care shit, make your own hair care shit. Do you have a home girl who make natural hair care products? Support her natural hair care products. Stop fucking buying Eco Styler. Okay? You want candles? Make your own candles. Support the girl who has a candle making business. Are you kidding me? Like, why don't we have gardens? Let's spend less time in a grocery store, more time in gardens. Don't feel like you always have to buy the newest, hottest clothes or whatever. Learn how to upcycle clothes. Get into your divine feminine. Get into your creativity. Learn how to sew yourself. Learn how to be fucking useful. Learn how to be thrifty. Women who are tapped into their divine femininity are creative. They're thrifty as hell. They don't need all this money. All this money, all these material possessions is not necessary. That's just fucking programming. Get out of the programming. Please get out of the if that's anything, capitalism isn't that important. Women feel like they can't be as stay-at-home moms. They feel like they can't live off of one income. I believe firmly that any household could make it off of one full-time job and at least one part-time job. Do we need 2 full-time jobs? I don't know. I feel like households could make it off of one full-time job and one part-time job. Will you have less? Yes, you will. But at the end of the day, we have to find out what means most to us. Being happy, having healthy bodies, not being stressed out, having healthy hormones, not having the fibroids, not having the cysts, having happy children, having children with emotional intelligence, having children who doesn't have a stressed out parent, having kids who feel like they could talk to their parents about anything, having kids who are not depressed, like having kids who are eating real meals and not McDonald's every day, having kids who are growing up on home cooked meals and not like fucking pizza rolls, Hot Pockets, and Tyson chicken nuggets. Like, come on, y'all. We have to figure out what's worth more than us. And that shit not gonna happen. Our families are put on a backside. Our families are put on the back burner, and we're coveting like career and capitalism and patriarchal society, and we're killing ourselves, we're killing society, and we're killing our family structures doing so. It's time for a woman to stand up. It's time for a woman to get out this goofy shit. Like, it's really, really, really time for us to come into our womanhood. It is, ladies, and it's like you have to choose. You have to choose, like, you have to choose. Does the new car mean more to you? Does the new clothes mean more to you? Or does the sacrifice mean more to you? Does like having a healthy family mean more to you? Does having healthier kids mean more to you? Like, you have to find out what means more. What's the point of fucking paying for child care when you are the child care? Are you kidding me? I think, we have to decide. It's time we get to that point. And trust me, if there's a will, there's a way. I don't really want to hear no excuses, but that's my thoughts and the opinion on the Barbie movie. And I do want to say this too, and just know that, yeah, maybe you're not making that much money right now, selling your candles or selling your body butters or doing lashes and doing your bikini waxes. But please keep it up. These businesses are so important and we need them. And businesses always go through a building phase. I much rather women have and go through their building phase, like while their kids are young or while they can. But just because it's not profitable now doesn't mean that it won't be profitable later. So let's just get out of this capitalism mindset and this focus on money, money, money. Because when you get into your divine feminine, your divine creative essence, the money is going to flow to you anyway. Like, the money is really a non-factor. But, ladies, I think it's time for us to choose and decide. Those are my views. Those are my opinions on the Barbie movie. I thought it was horrible. I feel like it's here to confuse women. It's not here to empower a woman. I don't really get it. I feel like the messages were confusing and conflicting, but I also do feel like that's what they were supposed to be. And yeah, so let me know your ideas, your thoughts. Please give me feedback on this episode. I would like to do more like this in the future. So let me know if you guys liked it or not. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Thank you for listening and tuning in to the Sageology podcast. Please be sure to follow me on Instagram, because before I bring anything to the podcast, I will be talking about it on there first. I love you guys and thank you.